welcome back to my channel. It's the end of the month, which means it's time to do a monthly review. So this month I read 2,629 pages, according to my lovely TI-84 CE+, and 7 books. It is the 28th. I did start a new book today, so technically it's 100 pages more than the number I just told you, but let's not split hairs. So I'm going to go through the books that I read very quickly, tell you what I rated them, and maybe talk about maybe my top 3. So, to start things off, at the beginning of the month I read Rue by Thúy. It was very good, very cool, about refugees from the Vietnam War coming to Canada. Very lyrical, very fun. This was my book club book for this month. So I really enjoyed this one. It was good. Happy I read it. The next book I read, I gave this a 4 out of 4. Next book I read was Karenina. It's very big, very large. Took a lot out of me, but I'm really glad to have finished it. I thought it was a lovely book. I could rate it 5 out of 5, or 9 out of 10. Perhaps it's more accurate. Really like this. Hopefully one I'm going to reread again in 10 years or so to see if I get anything else out of it. But fantastic novel. The next one I read was The Queen of the Tearling. This is probably one of the better fantasy novels that I've read lately. And seeing as though fantasy is my preferred genre, that's pretty good. Also rated this one 5 out of 5. Very cool, but did not like the cover. The holes bother me. Very cool novel. The next one I read during a snowstorm when we had no power for 6 hours was Erika by Pratchett. It did not take me a whole 6 hours to read this. I also finished The Queen of the Tearling, just in case you think I'm a slow reader. I'm not. Anyways, this one was cool. Not my favorite Pratchett book. I rated it a 3 out of 5. It was just kind of eh. But a good quick read, and I did enjoy it. The next one is Love in the Time of Cholera. Several of my friends had asked me recently if I had read this book, and I had not, so I decided to pick it up this month. I did enjoy it. It was pretty good. I felt like some of it went over my head, mostly because of my age, I felt. So I rated this one also 3 out of 5. Recently, I finished Beauty Queens by Libba Bray. It was a pretty cool book. I really enjoyed reading it, but I rated this also a 3 out of 5. And finally, yesterday, not seen a review for this one yet, The Murder of a Small Town Honey by Denise Swanson. It is the first book in the Scumble River Mystery series. I rated this a 4 out of 4. I thought it was delightful. The characters are well-rounded. And you'll hear more about this later. So we'll just hold up the stack for you to see. Look at all of that pages. Look at how well I did. Okay, so my favorite books this month were obviously the ones that were rated the highest. So The Queen of the Tearling was probably the best book I read this month. It was fantastic. The characters are well developed. The story is really cool and interesting. She talks about books a lot, which is always one of my big weaknesses. I'm really looking forward to the second and third book in the series. I read this with my friend Jacqueline. She also thought it was fantastic, which is good because we have similar tastes in books, but not always the same taste. So the fact that both of us really like this book means that it's a pretty darn good book. So that would be the number 1 book of the month, which I have just thrown on the floor. The number 2 book of the month was Karenina. Yes, this monstrous beast has made the top 3. I thought it was a really great book. I really enjoyed it. A lot of the dialogue is kind of fun. Of course, if you read my other, or watched my other review, you know that I didn't really like Anna that much. I did not like Anna that much. But she grew on me as I read it. For me, the story was all about the proletariat. And Levin. Levin stole my heart. So, this is a good book. unlike The Queen of the Tearling, which I think you should read right away, stop watching this video, come back to it later, and go and buy that book and read it. Anna Karenina, I feel like if you're under the age of 30, you can probably wait a few years. Again, a lot of the people who are my mom's age liked this book a lot more than I did. They found that Anna was a much more sympathetic character than I found her to be. But that's just the way things are when you're 20 and not in a loveless marriage. And despite Denise Swanson getting a higher rating than Beauty Queens, Beauty Queens is my third book, my top 3 this month. Super cool, super diverse, fun but serious. Libba Bray does a wonderful job in this novel, talking about some very serious and prevalent issues in our society, beauty expectations of women, what it's like being LGBTQ in our society, gun violence, etc., etc. The book really has everything. I rated it a little bit lower, just because I found that compared to the other books that I read this month, the writing just wasn't there for me. I mean, I did read it right after Love in the Time of Cholera, which could have colored that a little bit. But very cool. The format's really awesome too. Highly recommend you check this out. It's a really good book. So those were the books from February. So before I say goodbye, I'm just going to give you a quick overview of what you're going to be seeing in March, for sure. So first of all, my book club is reading The Better Mother by Jen Sukfonli. Again, not good at pronouncing things, so I do apologize if I pronounced your name wrong. So far, I guess you can see I started it. It's a pretty cool book. It's about a gay man in Chinatown in Vancouver during the 80s and the AIDS crisis. So, I mean, like, I started this today before I went to work in the doctor, and I'm like 100 pages in already. So that's a pretty good indication of what this book is like. Also published by one of my favorite publishers, Vintage Canada. They publish a lot of Canadian novels, so that's good. This month I'm reading Catch-22 as part of my own personal goals with my friend Jacqueline. So I'm looking forward to this. Me and her have some big book plans now that I'm not in school anymore. So we're starting with the ones that we bought together, a few years ago, and going from there. So I'm really looking forward to this so that I can continue to say Catch-22 while knowing this lovely edition of the Mordor. Sir Thomas Malory. I've challenged myself to read one book a day. There is 21 books in total. So if you want to follow along with me and read with me, I just finished book 3 today. Head over to my Instagram at Unphilosophize. There's a link in the description box below. And that's where I'll be giving all my updates on how I'm finding the book, along with pictures from the book, of the book, and especially of the engravings in the book. I'm really pleased with this edition. It's very nice to read. So that's what you're going to be hearing about in the coming month of March. So very excited to share all those books with you. And that's all I have to say for now. So don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. If there's a book that you're itching to hear someone's opinion on, let me know about it in the comments below. I might pick it up, I might read it. You never know. I hear recently that there's this thing called the library where you don't have to buy the books. So yeah, that's great. You can find me on Instagram, Snapchat, Bookwitty, Goodreads, Tumblr, Blogger, all at Unphilosophize. I'm thinking about getting a WordPress, so if you use WordPress and you have any tips or advice, feel free to drop that down in the comment section below as well. I really appreciate that. But yeah, that's all I have to say for today. I hope you have a good day, and we'll see you again probably in a couple days, because realistically I have 3 videos in a queue already, so yeah, have a good day.